歡迎大家嚟到我哋 ChildSim Talk。咁咧就今日好開心，因為咧就請到 Terence Luk Paediatric 嘅麻醉科醫生。佢嘅 specialty 都係做 Paediatrics 嘅。咁今日就唔係講麻醉喎，今日咧係我最 favourite 嘅 topic， 就係講一個 IT 嘅 solution， 就係個 app。app 咧就幫大家計藥嘅。咁大家知道我哋喺 Sim Centre 都成日舉辦好多啲 simulation course 啊。其中一個 sedation， 咁我發覺咧，原來而家個個都唔會記啲藥嘅 dosage， 亦都唔應該記。但係咧，有時想用嗰陣時，究竟去邊度揾啲藥嘅 dosage 咧，尤其是好急嗰陣時，咁我哋又 advocate 話大家印咗張紙出嚟啦。咁但係我哋睇到大家嘅 behaviour 咧，原來急嗰陣時，第一件事咧就唔係揾張紙嘅，第一件事咧拎佢個電話。咁所以咧就今日好好啦，咁揾到 Terence 嚟講下佢點樣將呢張紙或者一本藥書擺喺電話度咧，呢個 Drug Calculator。咁我好期待呢個 course 啊。Terence，請你開始。
咁首先好榮幸多 Chan 介紹我嚟呢度咁講呢個 talk 咁樣啦。咁呢個 topic 就係講the development of Paediatric Calculator 嘅。I believe it's a very meaningful project because although we carry our smartphones together with us every day, very little has been done to utilize it as a tool to improve medication safety and improve clinical management. And here are the links that you can visit for the online versions of the calculators. One is designed for anesthesia and the other is designed for the PICU. We welcome any comments and feedback. So let's say in the middle of the night, a sick neonate comes into theatre and he has one IV and one PICC, and he's having borderline lowish blood pressure and a low hemoglobin, and the INR was deranged. So how do I look up the drug information, for example, the dosage and dilution of inotropes, and what is the volume of PEG cells and FFP to be transfused? Remember, this is in the middle of the night, so there may be no one to ask for help. So currently, this is what I would do. I would go to the Paediatric Calculator website on the intranet and print out a sheet of calculations and put it on my benchtop and draw up medications accordingly. But a more advanced and more handy way to do it would be to look up the information on the smartphone which has already installed the calculator. The story actually began here when I was a trainee rotated to UCH Anesthesia. They have an online calculator on their intranet, which is quite interesting. I only have to enter some patient details and all the GA medications and airway sizes would be provided. So I imagined it would be great if we can have a more modern and mobile version of this calculator. Another reason why I would like to promote this app is medication incident. Atropine was given for resuscitation, but the dose was given 6 times higher because the concentration written on the Broslow tape did not match the one on the drug ampule. I imagined it would be safer and more convenient if we have a mobile drug reference tool. So when anesthetizing pediatric patients, the drug dosages and equipment sizes must be adjusted to the patient's age and body weight. Mental calculations by reciting formulas can be time-consuming and prone to errors. By using a pediatric calculator on the smartphone can help to improve speed and accuracy. Basically, it provides an instant drug reference at the bedside. So the app works like this. It gets the user input and performs age-based calculations and weight-based calculations. Typically, the airway sizes are based on age, and the drug doses are based on weight. I first started to build this app by writing a web page, and the basic components of a web page would be 3 things: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML is the standard markup language for web pages, and it represents content. CSS controls the presentation, such as the colors, fonts, and layout, and outlines the design of the web page. Finally, JavaScript enables user interaction. It gets the user data, performs data processing, and feeds it to the user display. The last step is to package all of this into an app and make it available on the Android and also the Apple app stores for people to download. Here is a video demonstration on the left showing the app in action. You can enter the patient's body weight and age in years, months, or days, and then the airway sizes and common GA medications are shown, followed by a section on transfusions and emergencies, including the use of adrenaline and defibrillation. The next section on inotropes is very useful for me because it tells me to drop exactly how many mils of drug into a 50 ml syringe for dilution. So if the desired rate of, say, dopamine is 1 to 20 mics per kilo per minute, I would infuse at 1 to 20 mils per hour. It also contains other useful resuscitation information according to the PALS cardiac arrest algorithm and a color-coded table. Although there are other pediatric calculator apps on the market, they all have certain problems. For example, the one on the left contains some of the drugs that we do not usually use, like thiopentone and vecuronium, and the one in the middle contains too much information. The one on the right is quite popular among colleagues. It's called anesthesiologists, but it contains quite too many drugs and is not very well organized. So there are 4 major advantages of developing an app on our own. Firstly, it is designed to be fast and intuitive. You only have to enter 2 variables and all the drugs are immediately displayed on a single page with a simple layout. So it is easy and intuitive without any instructions. Secondly, it is made accurate and up-to-date. Being up-to-date is important because drug formulations can change from time to time, and we can update the app to reflect this. Thirdly, it is tailor-made to suit our institution and our department, to suit our own practices, and it is now in regular use in the OT and also PICU in Prince of Wales Hospital. Lastly, the same app can be adapted to multiple different formats, such as the smartphone, PC, or can be accessed through intranet, or if you wish, you can print it out on a paper for reference. This is the timeline for development. It was first created in August 2017, followed by some internal testing, and fully implemented in early 2018, and uploaded to the App Store for easy download. Earlier last year, we collaborated with PICU colleagues to modify it for the use in PICU because the requirements for the PICU is a little bit different. They would have a difference in choice of intubation medications, and in our unit we tend to use cuffed tubes, whereas in the PICU there may be a mixture of cuffed and uncuffed ETTs, and they would have more drug infusions as well. We have performed a survey study during the initial phase of implementation of the app. For the objectives, we want to show 2 things. One is to show that the speed and accuracy of pediatric calculations are improved. 22 anesthesiologists were invited to participate in pre- and post-implementation surveys. And secondly, we want to compare the performance of our pediatric calculator with alternative methods. And 14 trainees were recruited to do a calculation exercise using their usual method of calculation to calculate drug doses and equipment sizes based on 3 hypothetical scenarios. Time and accuracy of their answers were recorded. We do this because we want to know how long it takes for an average trainee to perform these calculations without using the app. In the pre-implementation survey, participants were asked about the speed and accuracy of the usual method they use to calculate pediatric drug doses. In the post-implementation survey, they are asked about the speed and accuracy of the Paediatric Calculator app. So on the upper graph, you can see that in the pre-implementation survey, users would typically use around 1 to 5 minutes to calculate drug doses, whereas in the post-implementation survey, they would only use less than 1 minute to calculate using the app. For the accuracy on the lower graph, most people rated that their usual method of calculation were quite accurate. But in the post-implementation survey, most people think that using the PD Calculator app was very accurate. So both the speed and accuracy were significantly improved by using the Paediatric Calculator app. 14 trainees were recruited to participate in a calculation exercise based on 3 hypothetical scenarios. they were allowed to use their own method to calculate, but not allowed to use the app. The first two scenarios represent standard GA induction cases, as shown in green and blue bars here, and the third scenario was an emergency involving the use of adrenaline. The results are shown here on this graph. The median time taken to calculate the first two scenarios was 60 seconds each, and the median time to calculate the third scenario, the emergency one, was very variable, and the median time to calculate this emergency was 40 seconds. Similarly, for the overall accuracy, our trainees did a pretty good job. They achieved an overall median accuracy of 86.7% correct, and 2 of the trainees got all the answers right. From the survey data, most participants responded that they would use the app. Self-reported speed and accuracy were improved. In this calculation exercise, using alternative methods but not using the app, trainees spent 60 seconds and 40 seconds to calculate standard GA scenarios and crisis scenario respectively, and the overall accuracy was 86.7%. In contrast, our app has minimal lag time with high reliability and 100% accuracy. I was very fortunate to present this data in Korea in 2018, and was very lucky to get the Best Research Award for this. Earlier on last year, I ventured outside my comfort zone and collaborated with PICU colleagues Dr. Chang Honming and Dr. Lawrence Chen to develop a mobile PICU calculator. Using a computer to calculate drug doses is nothing new in the PICU. They have an existing Excel spreadsheet that tells doctors and nurses how to dilute and calculate emergency drug dilution tables. And the task is to turn this Excel spreadsheet into a mobile application. Similar to the original anesthetic Paediatric Calculator app, you would enter the body weight and age up there, and then the ET tube sizes and defibrillation doses were shown, followed by intubation medications and emergency medications. And there would be a selection between all drugs, emergency drugs, and infusion down there below to simulate the tab design of the Excel chart to increase familiarity, to make people feel more familiar. This is the infusion sections. We include the same infusions like the PICU Excel chart with inotropes, antihypertensives, antiarrhythmics, sedatives, and relaxants. In our app, we have also color-coded it to improve readability. And here are the sedatives and relaxants, for example. This video demonstrates the PICU calculator. It's very similar to the anesthetic one, but an option box design was used for infusions. Firstly, this is better for mobile display, and the PICU colleagues expressed that it is quite easy to step up and step down the infusion medications. For example, as you can see from the video, if we want to double the dose, infusion dose of fentanyl from 1 to 2 mics per kilo per hour, this would correspond to how many mils per hour. Next, I would briefly go through 2 scientific studies on this topic. The first study is about how to avoid pediatric medication errors. It is worth noting that a significant proportion of medication errors are due to errors in ordering. Indeed, prescription or ordering a drug is the initial chain of events, followed by transcribing, dispensing, and administering the drug to patients. So we must get the drug ordering right. And here a computer or a smartphone can help you do it by facilitating drug prescription. This article recommends that we should have a pediatric weight-based dosing calculator, and for infusions, a computer-aided infusion rate calculator. Another interesting study was done in the UK, where doctors and students were asked to prescribe an inotropic infusion. 28 doctors and 7 medical students were recruited. The reference material is either the BNF for children, or a smartphone app called the PICU Calculator on the iPhone. The drugs calculator on the smartphone was more accurate than the BNF for children. It is surprising that using the BNF for children only achieved a poor accuracy of 28.6% only. Also, the smartphone calculator was more than 3 times quicker than the BNF for children, with the mean time being saved in 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes. And participants were generally more confident in prescription. Our work is still a work in progress. We have recently added a new function by incorporating local growth chart data to estimate body weight from body height or body length. The weight for height relationship is a similar concept to the Broslow tape, where you have different body weight zones divided according to patient height. In the app, from this weight estimation tool, once you enter the patient's height, the app would refer to the growth chart data, and the body weight is estimated according to the median weight for height. Our app has been uploaded to the iPhone and Android App Store for easier downloading. One of the advantages would be no internet access is required for using these apps instead of using the online versions. And it is being utilized in more and more places, such as the PICU in our hospital, and also a trauma training together with A&E doctors and paediatricians in our hospital, and also in the Children's Hospital SIM Center. Although we started quite small using the app in our own hospital, but it has already spread to other places across the globe. This is a capture of the visitors on the website during the whole of 2018. The top 5 countries of users using the app would be Hong Kong, United States, Australia, South Korea, and the mainland China. The app would not have been successful without a number of people, and I would like to thank them here. They include my anesthetic colleagues, Professor Kamaka and Dr. Polly Chan, and great contributions from our PICU doctors, Dr. Lawrence Chen and Dr. Chen Hon Ming. And I must also thank my department IT colleagues, and they are the most wonderful IT guys, Mr. Thomas Low and Mr. Jimmy Ko. Thank you for your time.
係多謝Terence。咁其實大家聽完都覺得呢個 journey 好奇妙，我覺得
係
原來都即係我 usage 嚟啦，咁原來又同 usage 有啲關係。咁我講個故事咧，就係我哋開頭嗰個 drug calculator 咧，其實就唔係一個醫生做嘅，
係
咁咧就係一個病人嘅爸爸，因為佢入咗 PICU， 佢好 grateful to 我哋嘅 service。咁咧佢就話我有咩可以 contribute， 佢係 IT 人，咁佢就幫我哋用嗰個 Excel 就做咗嗰個 version，咁就喺 PICU 做。咁而家我哋更加之開心啦，因為而家係我哋自己醫學界做翻一個 app 俾我哋大家。咁我想問一樣嘢就係頭先你話擺 intranet 係咪如果大家只去PWH 麻醉科嘅網頁咧就會揾到嘅？
係啊，冇錯，我哋個 app 咧喺麻醉科個iAnaes 嗰個 intranet 嘅網頁咧，喺 guidelines 嗰度 search Paediatric Calculator 就有同一個麻醉科嘅 calculator 都係同一個版面。咁呢個
PICU version 咧
？PICU version 咧就因為佢哋本身已經有個 Excel spreadsheet， 佢哋日常都用緊嘅，咁所以其實個 PICU calculator 咧more of 係一個去 supplement 佢哋醫生譬如改啲 drug doses 有個 reference tool 咁樣咯。咁intranet 嗰個 version 咧就主要係俾麻醉科嗰個用多啲，PICU 同時應該都用翻佢哋自己個 Excel chart 咁樣。
因為其實我喺度做 training 咧，我都係想話將來大家統一佢，同埋呢個係好 accessible。咁可唔可以有個要求咧，就係將個 PICU version 都擺個 intranet 度？因為點解咁問咧？其實因為急救嘅地方咧，有時唔係淨係啲醫生啊，或者係 PD， 可能係其他部門啊，咁佢哋有 CMS 嘅 workstation 咧，佢哋 access 到咧，其實係一個 bonus 嚟嘅。譬如講緊係A&E 啦、X-ray 啦、CT、MRI 啊、EEG 啊嗰啲咁樣。 咁如果 intranet 嗰度有一個 version 咧，有時佢手機未必喺身邊啊，或者幫佢個人又想上網睇 check。咁其實最重要一樣嘢就係我估你 intranet 個 version 咧應該係成日 update 嘅。versus 我哋 download 個你未必成日 update 咧，就有時會有一個即係outdated version 個 problem 喺度。有冇諗過呢個？
我都同意嘅。其實即係呢個 app 係一個幾好嘅 platform 啦，去 promote 某一啲 standard 嘅。即係如果佢 come up with 一啲 standard，去譬如 for drug dilutions 啊，或者俾某一個 dosage 嘅方法咧，咁呢個 app 而大家又覺得方便嘅話，都係一個好好嘅 platform 咧，去好似你咁講啦，譬如iA&E 啊。唔同地方嘅 PICU 唔同嘅 unit 咧，都用同一個嘅 standard， 都係一個幾好嘅 platform， 都好大嘅空間去 collaborate 同埋發展咁樣嘅。咁另外你提及嗰樣嘢都其實都好啱嘅，即係手提電話用個 app 咧都好方便嘅，咁但係都 depend on 個 user 自己 update 佢嘅。Intranet 嘅好處就係你可以統一到 update 到咁即時已經 reflect 到嗰個改變。
你考慮下可唔可以將個 PICU version 擺 intranet 嗰度，咁變咗即係大家就用嗰個 version，即係作為一個 standardization 啊咁樣。咁其實我自己有啲嘢諗緊嘅就係，我都有啲嘢做緊，就係我成日話有啲叫 just in time learning，咁或者係 just in time 嘅 clinical use 就係咧，其實我哋見到有兩個QR code 喺度，其實我哋要用嗰陣時咧，喺適當嘅地方，我哋擺個 QR code，其實佢唔使記啦，佢嘟咁就已經去嗰度啦。即係而家好多新樓都係啦，即係你而家微波爐咁點用呢？一嘟咁你就知道啦。我諗我哋其實係要用呢啲嘢。咁所以我第二個 version 嘅 poster 咧，我擺咗 QR code 喺度。咁同埋個好處就係你唔使裝個 app 啊。咁你只係上到網就得啦。咁當然唔好處就係頭先我哋傾偈咧，就話原來醫院都有啲盲點嘅。
係啊。
咁我諗喺呢度就呼籲啲 hospital administrator， 你收貨嗰陣時就唔應該有盲點，同埋咧即係。aim for 係 overall coverage， 因為其他我哋實在電話對我嚟講太重要，唔係淨係即係上網啊、Facebook 啊，唔係呢啲嘢，係真係要嚟 clinical use。咁我諗啲 operator 即係 telecom operator 係應該有責任做到呢樣嘢，而我哋喺醫院咧應該係做到呢樣嘢。咁我哋希望喺未來嘅將來咧，就大家咧 just in time 就揾到嘢啦，嘟咁啊已經揾到 information。咁咧呢個就頭先你講咗幾十秒，好似唔係好耐。其實大家諗下，你每一隻藥每個 procedure 幾十秒咧 add up 就係10幾分鐘。咁10幾分鐘對個仔嘅搶救咧就超越。另外一樣咧就係其實個 accuracy、safety 都係我哋不嬲即係畢生嘅精力去即係 eliminate 嘅，但係都做唔到。咁其實呢度只係做一步啫。Drug safety、medication safety 就係講 prescription 嘅。administration 又點咧？即係姑娘 administration 又點咧？咁我哋遲啲再講啦。我自己做一啲嘢嘅，即係幫啲護士咧去 accurately 去俾嗰啲藥，即係 achieve 個 5 price 啊咁樣。咁我諗我可以做多嘢。咁另外一個話題即係將來再講啦，就係究竟同 IPMOE 點樣 integrate 咧？咁呢個又係另外一個 topic 啦。咁今日買關子先啦咁我哋 overrun 咗2分鐘，咁但係呢個係我 privilege 啦咁因為我好開心Terence 嚟我哋講。咁Terence 係一個 Paediatric Anesthesiologist 啦，咁我頭先都希望邀請佢嚟我哋將來有啲simulation course 咧，佢可以幫手啊，譬如 difficult airway 啊咁樣。好，咁多謝你 Terence。咁我哋有一份少少嘅紀念品想送俾你。咁我哋一個擺電話嘅，咁如果大家用個手機上個 app 嗰陣時咧，可以用呢個咗啦，咁樣好多謝晒，
好多謝咁多位。